Welcome back to the David Pakman Show.
Welcome to the bonus show. I got a story here about Jim Cook, or is it Jim Koch? I believe it's pronounced Jim Cook, although it's spelled the same way as the Koch brothers. Pretty sure he goes by Cook. He is what is he? He works for Boston Beer Company, who brews Sam Adams.
I think he's like the chairman or CEO. I mean, he's basically the head guy at Sam Adams Brewery, right?
Yeah, co-founder and chairman. And he is the guy who was in the commercials. I don't know, depending on where you live, you might not see the commercials. Maybe you do. I'm pretty sure Sam Adams is distributed all over the country.
So yeah, I mean, I think that it is all over the country, but it's not ubiquitous, right? Like specific places will carry Sam Adams beers. Of course, being from Massachusetts, we're used to it being basically everywhere.
Mm-hmm. I'll just add that personally, I find their beer to be disgusting, but that's just me. So there's a story here about him and about basically a night the writer of the article had with him. And he's always going to events. He's always drinking lots of beer. And he divulged his secret to the writer. And he said, "Do you know how I drink all night and never get drunk?" And well, there's a good scientific explanation, and that is that for every beer, he will eat a teaspoon of this special type of yeast. And I don't know what this stuff tastes like. I guess it makes it more palatable to stir it into something, so it probably is not very pleasant. But apparently, the interaction between this yeast and the booze breaks down the alcohol, and I guess you just absorb a lot less alcohol as a result of it. So you can, if you keep eating this yeast, you can just drink a lot more than you normally would. So now I'm starting to wonder how many people know about this and how many drinking contests were won, decided by this technique. Have you heard of this?
I first heard about it. I sent Lewis this article because somebody sent it to me, or I came across it somewhere, maybe on Facebook. I've never heard of this before. And I wonder, they sell these products they're like hangover tablets or something like that you have them before you drink, and they're meant to prevent a hangover. But I think that that's a different thing, because they don't prevent you from being drunk. They supposedly just prevent the hangover the next day. This is pretty interesting. From my understanding, I mean, it's interesting in terms of chemistry. It from what I read, this does the job that your body would normally do in terms of synthesizing and oxidizing the alcohol. It just does it before the alcohol even reaches your bloodstream.
Right. Pretty amazing. So quite different from the guy we talked about who had a type of yeast growing in his stomach already. Now, what would happen with that guy was that he would eat starchy foods, and it would convert them to alcohol in his stomach, and then he would get drunk off of them. So incredible stuff happening with yeast and the body. And if you want to try this out, I guess he uses Fleischmann's active dry yeast.
Yeah, if you're normally into baking bread, then you might already have this on hand.
Yeah, who knows? Let me know how it works for you. I will not be trying this. I really don't drink that much anymore anyway. I usually don't have more than one or two. So I don't need the stuff. But anyway, apparently the writer of the article tried it and it worked. Let's talk about Uganda's Eat the Poo Poo pastor. As I've talked about before, I believe that the Eat the Poo Poo video is one of the funniest things I've ever seen. There are remixes to songs with it, and it's incredible. But now let me Martin Sempa is the guy's name, Ugandan pastor. Now he is under fire and is being accused of promoting homosexual behavior in his country, because what he does is he goes around to all these places, and in these meetings, he shows people on a projector images or perhaps even some video of pretty explicit gay porn. And I guess his superiors or I don't know, whoever is in control, people are accusing him of promoting homosexual behavior because of it. And that they claim that it's having the opposite effect. I guess when he shows people, I think he shows the really insane stuff. So when he shows people fisting each other.
Well, the funny thing about this when I read it, Lewis, is you could make the argument that heterosexual sex also should be outlawed just by handpicking extreme heterosexual porn and showing it, right? I mean, it's the dumbest argument.
Right. And to think that everyone loves this extreme stuff and will just be turned on by it and then maybe even become gay because of it is just so absurd. I mean, the whole mindset, the whole thing that's happening in Uganda obviously is completely insane. But I think it's just funny now that that his acts of going around trying to be the anti-gay guy could land him between 14 years to life in prison.
Can you imagine? The country is so anti-gay that anti-gay activists end up in jail because they do something that's misconstrued as promoting homosexuality. I mean, that's a level of insanity that is, it's out of a satirical novel or a Saturday Night Live skit.
Yeah, it's absolutely incredible. I mean, you can rank this right up there with the world's most paranoid moments. Certain countries, what they, the communism thing, or what else? The Japanese in America during World War II. You name it. It's just insane levels of paranoia and fear. And there it is. The anti-poo-poo pastor might not be preaching poo-poo for very long.
I haven't seen that video lately, but I am going to check it out after the show because it's just so out of left field and the guy's delivery is so bizarre that you have to it's good not to forget that exists.
Right. I encourage everyone to eat the poo-poo, if you will. And by eat the poo-poo, I mean watch that crappy video. Get it? Okay. I have an interesting story about a prisoner who broke out of jail. He says he broke out of jail because loud rap music was being played day and night in his wing by other inmates. This guy's name is Robert Stevens, 58 years old, a convicted robber, and he escaped.
Can I just guess that Robert Stevens is white?
He is. Good guess. He escaped from Category D prison in Tortworth, South Gloucestershire. Wow.
It's shocking that you messed that up given that you're from Massachusetts.
Okay, I know how to say Gloucester, but the Shire on the end threw me off. It's one word, Gloucestershire. And who knows how they pronounce it. It might be completely different. I'm sticking with Gloucestershire. He had been serving 6.5 year sentence for robbery, spent 20 days at large in the Southwest before being nabbed at a bookmaker's in Birdport, Dorset. All right, here's my question. And the laws might be different over there. But my question is being exposed to loud music constantly while incarcerated cruel and unusual?
Well, okay, so we know that really loud music, often heavy metal, is used to torture people.
Oh, please.
No, don't you remember those reports? It is often heavy metal music and just stuff that's very heavy in general. It could be like heavy rock, whatever, is used to torture people at CIA black sites. And we heard all those stories about how loud music is played, for hours and hours on end. Obviously, that's cruel and unusual punishment. At the same time, what was going on in the prison, it couldn't have been so loud that it violated some noise policy because they would have had to turn it down. So I question how loud it really was. Does he even say that the volume was the issue? Because in the article I read, it didn't really say anything about the volume.
It said it was, very noisy. It said, I guess the implication is that it was loud.
Okay.
And that it was day and night. And yeah, I think if this were happening in this country, this would be cruel and unusual. I think you could hire the appropriate legal representation and win.
I mean, first of all,
Yeah.
it's the other inmates, so it's not really cruel and unusual punishment because it's not the jail that's
But
doing
it
it.
is because it's still something you are exposed to,
Right.
while under the state's
Care, supposedly. I mean, I think it's
Right.
more an issue of policy. I don't know that it matters whether we call it cruel and unusual punishment, but certainly if you're in that type of situation where it sounds like it was maybe lower security, because I imagine that if you have the leeway to play music whenever you want, that you're probably not in what we picture as the relatively high security individual cells that are just short of total isolation. I would assume it's more of like a bunk type situation.
I think that is what was happening here. So I think he's going to get hit with the book, if you will, because of this, which is too bad. Because
well, yeah, when
seems-
you escape prison and jail, typically the punishment, you have more punishment, right? Because it's illegal to escape.
right. But do you agree with me? Would that be cruel and unusual in this country? And would you be, or would you be have your sentence cut short because of it? Or I don't know. Of course, breaking out is a different matter. If you do that, I think you're screwed no matter what.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's cruel and unusual punishment, like I said, but I think it should be against prison policy. I mean, you have a right for it to just be not too loud all the time, right? There should be some kind of designation. I don't know. I mean, I'm not really the guy to ask specifically about the micro. I know at the macro, a lot of the problems we have in prisons, but music policy is, I have to admit, not necessarily what I think about most with prison.
All right. Yes. Well, I'm sure, a lot of prisoners have bigger fish to fry. But anyway, why are they playing music to begin with? Why do they have the music? How is this happening? It's all a bit ridiculous. Anyway, I'm out. David, you good?
Thank you.
Thank you.
The David Pakman Show at davidpakman.com.